I've often said here on the show, when you think about royal history, I don't know about you, but I've always been fascinated as to who and why is allowed to look through, say, very private papers of senior members of the British monarchy. Remember the story recently where basically our late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, well, apparently the papers were going to be gone through by her very dedicated former royal aide, Tall Paul, as is affectionately known, Paul Mayhew. And what's interesting here, as we've seen before, and we've told you there's a brand new play coming up called Backstairs Billy in the very heart of London's West End, all about, of course, a former royal aide to the late Queen Mother. But he didn't really come out of it too well because, as I say, I met him briefly and a lot of his correspondence was literally burnt, quite frankly, on the day that he was terminated of employment. Now, some people might say, should he be given the opportunity at all? I mean, after all, the job comes with accommodation and accommodation comes with a job. But more importantly, this is what happened next. See, there's a lot of, obviously, history attached to our late monarchs. Papers, her private letters, meetings, that sort of stuff. Everybody will be fascinated by that. And it really did need someone with a lot of discretion. Now, some people might say there's been quite a few ex-royal aides who do lack certain discretions. Gone off, of course, on cruise talks, making public speeches, television commentary, all of that sort of stuff. I've never really understood, if you've worked for the monarchy and you've signed, of course, that declaration, all that sort of stuff, the only reason you would probably wish to go on and make another career is if you didn't feel that that particular career had treated you well. Maybe you didn't receive an award if you're I don't know, a former communications officer or something like that. It seems very strange why you would want to spill secrets on your former employers. But there you go. But let me tell you, the reason why this particular gentleman, affectionately, as I say, known as Tall Paul, has been given this job, it all centres way back to 1981. And an incident that everybody will remember. This was, of course, the incident when Buckingham Palace was broken into, not once, but twice, by Michael Fagan. Remember, he was the man that sat and chatted on the Queen's bed, requested a cigarette, and they spoke about having 4 children, all of that sort of stuff. All the while she was pressing the panic button at the side of her bed, but no one came. They thought it was a faulty alarm. She then phoned down and requested for a policeman. And they said, yeah, okay, you know, again, not really believing just how serious this situation was. It was only when a young chambermaid alongside Tall Paul came into the situation that things really moved with a pace. And of course, finally, our wonderful monarch was out of any serious danger. You see, Paul was the man that led Mr. Fagan off with the promise of a whiskey and a cigarette. And the way that he dealt with this situation very calmly and astutely really endeared him to our late and wonderful monarch. And that is the reason, according to a very good source, how their relationship developed over many years, so much so that they ended up watching television together, their favourite shows, apparently Downton Abbey, a little bit like Catherine's. But the bottom line is, it's nice to see a true friendship develop with such trust. And more importantly, there is a man that is literally sifting through history. And she felt she couldn't have picked a better person to do it. So if it was good enough for our late and wonderful monarch, Her Majesty the Queen, then we should be happy with it too. New Sean in the very heart of London.